I am about to turn 59, and I've been spending my entire adult life planning for a life that doesn't actually exist. Once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. I was happy, great friends, good fun, genuinely having a great time, but I was treating this like the practice life, like I was getting ready for the real one. And at 58, I went, when is this real one coming? I was like Kate Winslet in our favorite movie, The Holiday, living as the fun friend instead of the leading lady of my own life. And here's what it cost me: decisions that didn't fit, wasted time, energy, and peace on maintaining a life that I didn't actually live. So today I'm sharing 3 specific things that I stopped doing when I started planning and living for actual me, not imaginary me. And number 3 is honestly a little ridiculous, but looking at me now, it might surprise you. Real quick, I made a really fun quiz, free. It's a retirement vibe quiz to help you figure out what is important to you now so that you can plan for real you. The link is below in the comments. Okay, back to what I stopped doing. Thing 1, I had a guest room. And I loved the idea of having it. I loved the idea of people coming over. And when they did come, I could fuss over them. They had a little nightstand. I made sure that they had a remote to the light above. They had their own TV. It was super comfy and fabulous and wonderful. But it got used like twice a year. Maybe twice a year. Meanwhile, in my living room, all of this workout equipment kept just popping up anytime I got a new craze. So I took a deep breath and I got rid of the guest room by making it into a workout room. And my dining room, the one that I use maybe 4 times a year because the chairs were horribly uncomfortable, I got rid of that. I gave it to a young couple and they loved it. They were very excited. And it became my YouTube studio. So welcome to my dining room. It was a big mental shift for me to be okay with allowing this to be my dining room and not being ready for a bunch of guests. And what surprised me was once I finally relaxed and realized I had built the life I was living instead of the one I was supposed to be living, that it was fine. And nobody was judging me. They came over, they had fun just in the same ways, and I was living a way more fun and casual life anyway. And with that awakening to how I was changing my physical space for these imaginary people in my imaginary life, I realized I had behaviors that were there because of this imaginary life. And so I stopped doing those as well. That's thing 2. Thing 2, I stopped keeping my house company ready all the time. There used to be days when I couldn't go to sleep because there was a dish in the sink. I didn't want to leave the house if there weren't like vacuum lines in the carpet. I worried so much that somebody was going to come over without calling, who does that, and judge me for what my house looked like, or there'd be an emergency and somebody had to help me in the house and there was a Kleenex somewhere. I was very worried about the judgment of other people in how I maintained things. Oh, I even had the perfect color of Gatorade in my fridge in case I had workmen come over. P.S. The perfect flavor is the blue one. That seems to be what everybody likes most. I didn't drink that, but I had it in case. I had snacks in my pantry like I had an army of children coming over weak with hunger. It was ridiculous. I think all the snacks are gone. I may have eaten those. I did all this in case. And it is not exactly Grand Central Station around here. And honestly, the older I get, the less I want people in my house. I love my friends. I love my family, but I love quiet too. But most importantly, I was living for these imaginary peoples coming in and out and making myself tense and stressed and not living for the life I actually had. So now I'm building a business. There are dishes in the sink. When I'm writing, spending a weekend writing, there's a pile of laundry in the workout room. So if you're spending a lot of time like I was, making things perfect, not because you wanted it that way, but because you were worried about the judgment if you didn't, it's worth considering what would happen if you let good enough be enough. Because perfection has a cost. Something's got to give. And thing 3 of things I stopped doing at 58, I stopped saying maybe next year. So weirdly, the same pattern that had me changing my physical space and then my behavior was also the same pattern that showed up in the way I took care of myself. Here's a small example that sounds ridiculous, but for years I wore my hair really short, and I had a hairdresser that every time I broached the subject of letting my hair grow a little, and she's like, oh yeah, you will hate it. You'll look like a Christmas tree. I really bought into that, and I thought, when I get to the perfect weight, then I will have long hair. Like I had to earn the right to have long hair by being perfect. And I was so worried about people judging, you're gonna have long hair and be over 50. That's ridiculous, because you remember the days when everybody chopped their hair because, certain age, you can't have long hair. That's tacky. I'm tacky. So one day, I just let it grow and grow. And I changed hairdressers. And the pandemic didn't hurt. Also, traveling. I'd always wanted to go to Hawaii, Tahiti. But that's like honeymoon spots. Ooh, how tacky to be the single person there. I couldn't conceive of that being fun if I wasn't in love with somebody. So I stopped waiting and I started traveling and doing these things with friends or solo. And what surprised me, it wasn't the sad consolation prize I thought it was going to feel like. There were no coordinating of schedules and compromising what you wanted to do when you travel alone. It was just me doing what I want, getting up early, going to bed early like a nerd. It turns out doing life solo isn't settling. It's just living. So if you have a version of the hair thing, the Hawaii thing, something you're waiting to do till the conditions are perfect, ask yourself, what am I waiting for? Grow your hair. Go to Hawaii. Do the thing. Your life is happening right now. And look, I know, I get it. There are things that we don't say out loud about what it's like when you are single, when you are childless, and when you are heading into retirement without those traditional safety nets. Over the next few months, I do want to talk about some of those things and break the silence on what is just normal life. I'm not saying I have this all figured out. I am saying I've stopped pretending I'm living a different life than the one I'm actually in. Shifting from planning for imaginary me to real me has actually been really fun. The decisions I make fit, and I actually can lean into and enjoy the life I really have. If creating a life you love resonates with you, you're in the right place. And the quiz I mentioned earlier, which I've pinned in the comments, is free. It's fun. It's actually, I designed it like the Cosmo quizzes back in the olden days, where you just figure out how many A's you have, how many B's, to see what your retirement vibe is. And it'll tell you a little bit about where you actually stand today in this real life you're living. And if you want more of these conversations, the real ones, not the Instagram highlight beautiful reel of Gen X women and solo retirement, subscribe, because we're just getting started. Together, we're building a life we love. This is Gen X Missy reminding you that if you start now, we can retire happy.